if you go through this simple process like I just laid out, you'll be able to create your own videos, and it won't be a big lift.
Welcome to Spill the Ink, a podcast by Reputation Inc., where we feature experts in growth and brand visibility for law firms and architecture, engineering, and construction firms. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Calcote King. I'm the host, and I'm also the principal and president of Reputation Inc. We're a public relations and content marketing agency for law firms and other professional services firms. To learn more, go to rep-inc, that's inc with a K.com. So today we're going to talk about video marketing for law firms, how to do it and how to do it well. So video isn't the first thing you think about when you think about law firms and marketing, but it can be a very successful strategy. It's also exponentially growing in popularity, and multimedia elements are showing up on firms' websites, social media, newsletters, and more. So today, to talk about this topic, I'm welcoming Philip Fairley to today's episode. He's the president of the Rainmaker Institute. They are a legal marketing firm for small to mid-sized firms. And they offer an array of services, including, of course, video marketing. So Philip also developed Rainalytics. It's a business intelligence tool that tracks and analyzes firm data. So thanks for being here.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm always excited to talk about video because you were mentioning it's like, hey, we're starting to see them show up on websites and multimedia and other things, but yet other industries have been embracing this for the last decade.
I know.
But you know, in full disclosure, Michelle, every industry always says, well, our industry is late to the game.
I know, right?
But you know this, being in marketing, we're driving innovation. So I can imagine, just like in your company, all the changes daily, weekly, monthly. But for law firms, I will call this new.
Yeah,
right?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, let's start with, I gave a little bit of an introduction, but tell me a little bit more about your career and your work at the Rainmaker Institute.
Yeah, so I took over Rainmaker's ownership back in 2017. Rainmaker next year will be 25 years that we've been in business. We were the first in an industry where there was zero competition.
Yeah.
That was a pretty neat place to be, Michelle, but we were doing a lot of coaching and consulting and things like that, where a lot of firms need that. And that's where we kind of started out. But in 2017, I took over the company, and a couple of the things that really I'm excited about that we've made some changes since then is, like I said, like you mentioned before, we developed Rainalytics, a little play on our name. We love the word Rainmaker because that's what we try to help law firm owners become. But with Rainalytics, what it does is it plugs into all your software across your firm, and it measures all the data into custom dashboards. Now, that's pretty interesting on the surface. But the neat part, what separates this aside from any other reporting, or you got P&L reporting, you got QuickBooks, whatever it may be, right? Google GA4, Google Analytics 4, right? A lot of report. But the difference with Rainalytics is we tie that in with monthly meetings with our clients, and we interpret numbers for them.
Perfect.
Because we have 500 data points. You as the law firm owner, you're going to sort through that and then make sense of it.
Yeah.
Then data is like an overload. You're like, I got data everywhere.
Yeah.
So we tell our law firm owners what to do more of and what to do less of by reading the data for them. And I think that's really, that changes them from being an attorney to a business owner. And sometimes they only put that hat on 1 hour a month. You know, the more successful ones wear that hat more frequently than being an attorney. But we love Rainalytics. And the other thing that we did in the first in our history of Rainmaker is last year we purchased a video company out of California. And we never purchased or acquired another company in the history of our 24 years and working with 23,000 law firms to date. It was really exciting because we had the knowledge and the understanding of here's how you should be positioning, but we needed somebody to help us execute that. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, because honestly, the type of videos that are working are not sending out a crew to your firm and getting a set of 5 or 6 that are overproduced. These are things that you and your marketing team internally should be doing on your own, or in that type of a manner. And I think that's really the neat or unique part of what's working in marketing right now, because more and more marketers, you may hear this across many industries. They're like, hey, when we put out an ad or a marketing campaign and we're like, hey, here's what we do, here's 3 benefits, like here, set a time, right? Or whatever, pitching their services, whether that's legal services, whether marketing, or whatever it may be.
Right.
Those aren't resonating. What's resonating with consumers is video. It's what we consume. We lay in bed before we go to sleep. We wake up in the morning and we check it, right? And all the news and social media, it's all intertwined, and we then find ourselves going to TikTok or Reels or Shorts and sitting there for way too long. But what's resonating is the approach of, tell me you're an attorney without telling me you're an attorney, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Right? I don't want somebody to fix my probate. I want somebody to tell me what I should be looking at with this probate issue and educating me on it, or whatever their issue is.
Well, let's talk about that. So we're the same. We see when we post, we've done testing, and we'll post the same post, and we'll put one with a static image, one with a video, and the engagement is off the charts more on the video. But when I was coming up in marketing many years ago, you thought of video for things that had a real visual element to them, things that had that, that's something that kind of really popped on video, and law firms don't really have that. They have people in suits and fancy offices, so let's talk about what kind of video. And I love that you also talked about, it's not the high production quality anymore. It's iPhones and tech have just kind of brought the tech to the masses. I always tell this story about how I was interviewed for TV a few years ago, and they actually interviewed me on an iPhone, and it was on the local news. So, but
there's movies that were, remember, like 5 years ago, there was this, I don't even know what it was, but the only people went to see it is they said we filmed it all on an iPhone.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. So tell me what kind of videos are working, and how are you facilitating that with your clients?
Yeah, there's a couple things that are kind of what I'd call table stakes with video and multimedia. Like you were mentioning, you need some what we call core videos on your website. Like your about us, every attorney needs to have a profile video, and it's not where you went to law school. And if you can film it with your dog or your pet in there, kudos and bonuses. And just trust me, that works. But you need a set of core videos, and then we kind of divide them up into a couple different areas. And the reason why we know that overproduced videos don't work, and why there's certain areas that you should be focusing on with your video, is because with our Rainalytics tool, we track the data. Those overproduced Law and Order, movie trailer type videos that who's putting them out, and how expensive they are.
Right.
Nobody watches them. Right. They just don't. They go to the AMC to go watch those at the theater, or Law and Order video, right? The episode. That's not what's resonating. So you have your core videos, and you want to do it. And then you have 2 other types. One is the most overlooked, Michelle, and that's in nurturing. Your nurturing videos will generate more revenue for any law firm than any other video. I don't care if you get 1 million views on a video. Your nurturing videos will generate more. And what do I mean by that? Well, you work in the space. Many law firms think that their marketing stops when the phone rings, right?
Right.
Like, hey, marketing worked. Great. Got a lead. Check it off. Track it.
Yeah.
You know what? That's false. Your marketing evolves and changes from lead generation to lead nurturing, because not everybody's ready to set a consult.
Right.
Or hire an
Absolutely.
attorney.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're in estate planning, your sales cycle could be 6 months. If you're in criminal defense, it could be 2 days.
Right.
And then practice areas abound in between. But so the nurturing, what you need to do is, if let's say you're a family attorney, don't just say I practice family law or divorce law. You've got multiple sub practice areas in there. You've got divorce with children, divorce without, divorce with high net worth owners. You got mediation, you got contention. You can slice these deeply. And the reason you want to do that with your nurturing messaging, other than tracking what practice areas are profitable, right? Underneath that, is because then you take these, then you should be nurturing those leads. The divorce with children, that's an entrepreneur. And then if they don't set the appointment, or if they do go to the consult and they don't hire you, you need to be nurturing them in a series of 5 to 10 to 15 touches, a couple texts, a couple phone calls, always include phone, but your email messaging should have a case study. Your first email should be, this is the best one. I love this one. What happens day number 1 if you're my client? They have no idea what it's like to be a client of a law firm, how the court system works. If you're a bankruptcy, that's a real easy content to create. You get a fresh start. You get a whole team, no more calls, right? We take everything off you. If you're, trying to protect your family and your children, there's a certain mess. So having these drip emails sparsed in with your, drip videos sparsed in with your emails, those videos are fantastic. Then
Perfect.
Those are more what I would call kind of one and dones. You're creating them once, multi-use. Unlike a plastic straw, it's not a single use. You use those thousands and thousands of times. So just imagine your ROI on them.
Right.
But then that's more lead nurturing. For lead generation, I also call it branding, because you got to understand, this a lot better than I do. You have the extensive experience in PR and branding, and that's your jam. You know the value of that versus a static word versus a picture.
Yeah.
Let's say the word boy. Okay. Then a picture of a boy sitting on a couch, like a 3-year-old boy. What comes to your mind? Then think of it, that boy dribbling a basketball and he hits his dog with it and then he falls over laughing. What's the impact of that? So with the videos that, other than your kind of core and your nurturing ones, a lot of them are going to kind of fall into a couple different categories. What I call like the top of the funnel messaging.
Okay.
Like when you market, the bottom of the funnel messaging is, here's my software, or here's my legal services, set a time for a consult by myself.
Right. You're convinced you need an attorney. Now you're just trying to decide if I'm the attorney for you. That's bottom of the funnel. Top of the funnel is, you're just sort of, right, exactly.
Awareness, as many eyes as you possibly can on it. And there's 2 ways to slice this. What we like to do is education. Just what I was telling you about before. Like if you're a family attorney in North Carolina, hey, did you know that you have to be legally physically separated for 364 days before you can file for divorce, right? Educating them on this. What's the questions that your leads ask you and during intake or consult? What's your FAQs? What are people looking for? Those educational ones, those are key. But you don't just want to go there. One of the strategies that we've stolen from another industry, and that was probably taken from another industry, and that was probably created by TMZ, and that was probably created by the Inquirer in the World Magazine in the 80s, and that's React.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we've got an Orange County, California family attorney. We were begging him. This is the guy, he's like, no, I wear a suit and tie. I'm sophisticated. We're like, take your tie off. You can keep your jacket. That's okay. Relax, make it a little bit more normal, like you're having a conversation like we are. But he did a video, because he's in California. Harry and Meghan are going to get divorced in California.
Mm-hmm.
He had about 48,000 views within 24 hours.
So, okay, this is news to me. I didn't. Did I
They're
miss
not
some
getting
celebrity?
divorced.
Okay.
I think they will, right? But
right.
What a consumers, half the people in the world that are married get divorced.
Right.
So of the half of those people, how many of those married people are interested in pop culture, celebrity?
Right. Yeah. Great
culture?
way to pull it in.
Everybody is, right? You'll Michelle, you'll go down rabbit trails on your own phone.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah, easy. Yeah.
Right. I don't even like X, Y, and Z, but why am I one? It's just the way
it's
that
like
it is.
Junk food for the mind. Yeah.
It is. But then people are like, well, I don't want to get calls from the UK. I can't help anybody with it. The way that you do that is it raises your brand. And then you talk about, if you're in California, since they're in California, here's what they would go through. So he explains to them what their process would be if they get a divorce.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you pair that with education and you get some React videos. Like some of the best ones, like a lawyer breaks down this situation. Oh my gosh, in your particular industry, I just did one because, Oregon, it should be released in probably a week, I think. But Oregon just went through their Supreme Court, said you don't have to pass the bar to become an attorney. They have alternative ways to become an attorney. I think that's going to have a lot of traction with law firm owners. What does that mean? They're interested in the pop culture of the legal space.
Yeah.
But then I follow up with education about here's 5 things you need to know on intake, and here's how to work a consult.
Yeah.
And, you know, so
I love that. In the PR industry, we call that newsjacking. So taking a timely topic and then adding your own analysis to kind of get attention around a topic people are already paying attention to, and then bringing that attention to yourself. Yeah, we do it through the media, but fantastic. Yeah.
And this is kind of a do it at home type of approach to that. But the key is you can't just jack the media 2 or 3 times and then stop.
Right.
With video, it's about consistency. Creating consistent video every week and a half. But then I'd like to share, if we have time, I'd like to share how that works, because people don't do it because they're scared of, and it's a scientific process. It's not an art. It's really not. Let me jump in with this.
Please do. I'd love to understand that more.
Yeah, the key is consistency. So you break it down into a couple things. The first thing is you want to have a shoot location. We call it a shoot room, and that shouldn't be in your conference room that looks like a law library with your certificates on the back. Your backyard is great. Down the hallway, if you look at the back of ours, you got character. You got a star. You got some trophies in there that I'd like to talk to you about someday. You got a couple certificates and some fun things, and right. And you know, I'm a bleeding Chicago Cubs fan.
Just a tad bit of a Cubs fan. Yeah.
Right.
Love it.
So bring some character to it. So you want to have a shoot location where you're comfortable with, because you never want to mess around with it. You're like, I'm going to create video. I know exactly where I'm going to create it. And you don't want to do it always at the same place, but just do it at your desk. Stand up when you do it. Right. But have something that has character in the background.
Got it.
Then what you want to do is you want to kind of separate this out into like twice a month. You can do this doing it twice a month. The first 20, 30 minutes, you set a schedule on your calendar. And if you don't calendar it, you'll get run over, right? And you're doing the scripting and the content. And then you set a time for an hour, like 2 or 3 days in advance. Fast forward for that, not too long. So you're like, hey, on Monday afternoon, I'm going to spend 20, 30 minutes on scripting and coming up with my content. Then on Thursday afternoon, I'm going to do the shoots. So with the scripting, what we've come up with is templates, Michelle. You can template anything. Smart, we template React videos. We template education videos. We template profile. So what you can do is think of it as like Mad Libs. You're just filling in the blanks. Right. So you have a hook at the beginning, right? It's like, hey, did you know you had to be physically separated 364 days before filing for divorce in North Carolina? That's your 1 or 2 sentence hook. And the script has that, or a place for you to pencil that in. Then you have your standard. The next part of the script is your standard intro. Mine is, hello, I'm Philip Fairley. I'm the president of Rainmaker Institute, and we have grown more law firms into 7- and 8-figure businesses than anyone else in the U.S.
Wow, that's great. It. Yeah,
right.
Love that.
Then the template goes to, okay, reiterate the reasons why your hook line is so important for your audience to understand. Here's some examples. Then you're like, hey, if you're in this situation and you're looking, you need to know this why, right? And attorneys know this information. Then the next part of the template is you've got up to 3 bullet points of data or information. Like, here's the first reason. Here's the second reason. Then the third reason should probably be a case study or a story that somebody's experienced in your firm. You don't have to list their name. Hey, we had somebody that did this. They needed to get quick because they were in the military and getting out of town, and they couldn't do this because X.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever your story may be.
Yeah.
And then, so you got 3 points. One of them hopefully is a case study or a little bit of a story, because, you know, Jerry Springer made a career out of that. And we pull over on the side to watch car wrecks. People love to hear that stuff, right?
Yep.
It resonates, makes you a real, not an attorney, makes you a real person. Because there's 2 types of humans, right? Attorneys are the real people. That's what everybody thinks. They're scared. This humanizes you. So then at the end of the template, then you have your simple call to action. Hey, if you're in California and you're considering, you know, and you and your partner are going to be splitting and you have high net worth, you're an entrepreneur, you have kids, whatever you're targeting for that video, give us a call here at the Maggio Law Firm, because this is what we specialize in. Here's our information, right? That's your video. And so when I say a video, I call it long form.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about length for those kind of videos. What are you targeting?
So long form. And I want to get to you. I talked to you about the shoot room and the script, but I want to talk to you about the equipment too here in a second.
Yes,
but
please.
The long form video, 5 to 8 minutes, YouTube.
Okay.
Shot horizontally, not vertically with your cell phone.
Okay.
Because they want more horizontal widescreen. Right?
Okay.
So by then creating this long form video, you put it up on YouTube. And then I'll talk to you about the distribution in a second, because you have to get eyes on it, or else it's like your great website that you created with no SEO, and it's like on a back alley, right? Nobody will see it. So what you need for equipment is a $30 tripod that will snake up to 6 feet. That's it. You need a plug-in mic. In fact, I've got a lapel mic right here. If you're watching it on video, it's right here. And there's a cable, no Bluetooth. You get crackly sound. The worst thing is you put the effort in and the sound sucks. You got to do it over.
Right. Yeah.
Just get a 30-foot cable on this and plug it into your back of your phone. Because when you shoot and you're in the view of your phone, you should be shooting from the waist up. So you can move your hands bigger. They can see you, right? So you only want to stand 3 to 5 feet from your tripod and your camera anyway. So the neat part is, what you do for the shoot location is you put your camera up on your tripod, you plug your mic in, right? You do a quick test, and then you hit the button, you hit the record button, and you don't stop. Here's a neat little secret. You'll only find out if you actually do this, and I would challenge you to do it. And I'd love to hear if somebody does this, because it usually takes them hearing it 3 or 4 times to be like, okay, I'll try it. You record in 10-minute chunks. Above 10 minutes, takes too long to upload to your cloud. Just record in 10-minute chunks, but don't stop it. You let your editors edit out all the things. So you've got your camera on the tripod, you're 3 to 5 feet in front of it, so you can see the waist up, and you got your script that you've already written out 2 or 3 days ago. So you you pull up the script. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to go over the first line, and then you go to the camera, your phone, and you repeat the first line, the hook. And then you look back down at your script. You're like, okay, now I need to introduce myself. Okay, no, I don't like that. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Okay, and you don't hit
just
stop.
keep it rolling, and then your editor. Yeah, I've trust me, I've learned to do that myself. So
trial and error.
If you sit there and trying to do it perfectly every time, you're going to kill yourself with doing that. And a good editor can put it all together. You'd be surprised what a great editor can do. I'm always impressed. Yeah.
Michelle, you're a public speaker. You do this for a living, and so do I. And I still can't even come close. Sometimes I have a problem with 2 sentences in a row.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. So then you have your shoot location. You've got the camera up. You've got it plugged in to your lapel. You've got the phone facing you. As long as your phone's 2-3 years or newer, the camera will be fine. Right. And you really don't need to shoot in HD. You probably want to shoot it in 720, because it keeps the compression lower.
But you're shooting it on an iPhone with a lapel mic, and that's it. Yeah.
That's it. And then you got your script. And you look at your script, and you go up here, and then you repeat, and then you come down here and you repeat, and then you're done. And maybe you need to do 2 sessions of 18 minutes, like a 10-minute chunk, and then another 8, because you had to redo the last couple times.
When you say script, are you talking sort of bullet points?
Yes.
Points they want to make, not word for word, because I think that scares some people off. They're thinking, oh, I'm never going to be able to remember all this. That's how I do it. I do bullet points, and
I do bullet points. I always script out the hook, because that's something you think about and you
want to get right. Yeah. Right. Got it.
But the rest of them, I'll do a combination of bullet points, because I'm like, I know this topic inside. I don't know exactly what I want to say. I come up here and say it.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you are terrified and you're too many you can write out the sentences. It will take you longer, but then you're like, I just need to repeat 1 sentence at a time.
Yeah.
And then come down here and okay, I can repeat that
definitely.
again.
That's exactly how I do it. Tell me why landscape orientation versus portrait for those videos.
Because portrait is only made for short form videos, and anybody,
okay, got it.
Like TikToks, Reels, Shorts.
Your quick social media snack sized info. Okay.
But the crazy part is, Michelle, I shake my head when I see law firms creating content just for short form. It's silly. It's okay. You're going to spend a
What
lot of
mix do
time
you
on it.
recommend? What mix
Here's
are you heavier on long form? Which way? Tell me about the mix.
great. I want it all.
Mhm.
I was pissed that Threads didn't take off because that would be another platform we can distribute
Right.
content on.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'm like, I was rooting for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
That's a great question. Here's what we do.
Mhm.
We create the one long form video a week,
Mhm.
sometimes every week and a half. Sometimes clients will do 4 a week. Sometimes they'll do 2 or 3. I mean, a month, 4 a month. That's ideal. Sometimes if they're busier and they're just starting out, maybe 2 a month, 3 a month.
Right.
But what you do is you omni-channel the heck out of everything.
Mm. So you're
That's why,
breaking up the long form into the shorter form videos, and yeah, got
and
it.
not just videos.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cool part
Mm-hmm.
about this approach. This will take care of, outside of your
Blogs.
SEO and
Yeah.
your PR campaigns, of which you can parlay that in. You should be parlaying that into a video. It will take care of that because you put
Yeah.
it through Google Translate, then use like Jasper AI, and it will make
Yeah.
it more conversational. And now you have your blog. And if you want to do keyword SEO search, then you slide those keywords into your blog.
Yeah.
Then your newsletter is written for you, right? And then your social media on every platform. On Monday, I'm posting the long form. On Wednesday, I'm posting the blog post.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that to TikTok, but you can to Instagram or Pinterest or Threads or Twitter or Facebook, right? Then on Wednesday, you have your editor edit those long forms into 2 to 6 shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of those points
Nice.
can probably be cut up into a short form. Some
Yeah.
you'll get a lot, some you'll just get a couple. But then on Wednesday, you release one short. Thursday, you release the other short. Saturday, you release your last short. And then it goes on your website, your blog, your newsletter, and then you create videos to do the nurturing. You're like, hey, this is a good topic. I know people they're on the fence about this. So this is my content that I'm going to do and put it out on YouTube, but then I'm going to jam it into my intake software that sends out automatic messages to nurture. So you're multi-purposing it. You multi-purpose it for every stinking platform you possibly can. Right?
Yeah, so smart. And
And
how are you helping your clients ideate their topics? Like, are you brainstorming with them? How are they coming up with this? And I know every client's different, but talk me through that.
Well, what I shared with you is exactly what we do, because we understand that law firm owners, they're all in different phases and evolutions of their business, and some have time and some have money, right? I'd rather show you how to do it yourself. And then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I know I'm not going to do this. I need an accountability partner that's going to help me drive this and do this really well. But for some smaller attorneys, they want to do this themselves.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here's how you do it. So we meet with them once a month for 30 minutes and script every single one of their videos for them.
Nice. Yeah.
And with them, we collaborate. We go and look, like vidIQ. That's a dirty little secret. That's like Answer the Public from Neil Patel. And if you're marketers, you know what that is. But Answer the Public, you can go out there and find what people are searching for on Google and then create content for that.
Right.
vidIQ does that for YouTube. They're like, people are searching for this and there's a lot of content. People are searching for this and there's no content or little.
Yeah.
That you just make content for that, right? It's then there's ideas everywhere. Talk about pop culture and React, right? We help craft those. Like John Morant, NBA star, he got caught with this summer a gun in a strip club twice in a month and a half. Gosh.
Yeah.
We had lawyers that were making videos on this that were taking off, and then all of a sudden all their educational videos get doubled, tripled the views. They get more branding and more eyes, and then the phone calls start coming in, right? That's how it works. But I feel that it's key to know the content to create. So when we start working with a fresh attorney, we're creating content for their core videos, because those
you got to get the foundation laid, and then you can start the regular monthly process.
1000%, right? And then you're like, hey, I want to work more on probate or restraining orders or whatever it may be. Then okay, then we work with companies that are working with you and be like, okay, what are you pushing for on PR? What's your big push for your branding? Okay, let's embrace that and let's start going down that road. So you kind of start alternating, and working with our clients, we're watching their numbers and their views and also what they're doing in their other marketing and what they want more of. That's how we kind of tailor. We call up for our, we'll send out, because we have a group once a month where all the owners come in, and we're not all of them, but they can, and we'll strategize. I'm stuck on this, or what's something good in pop culture, and we'll share these ideas. But then we also meet with them every month specifically for their firm and what they want and what they need, and we're scripting it all for them, because if we don't, it typically won't get done. And they'll show up for their shoot time with nothing. So
that's what I find is the number one problem with, law firm marketing in general, is just having a structure, a process, and then a way to just get it done I mean, obviously the strategy has to be right.
Yeah.
That's
assuming all that, right?
Right. Assuming that it's just simply getting it done on a regular basis, kind of building it into the culture of how they do business and what they do, and getting them to, and it's very exciting when they start to think of things without you, prompting them. Yes.
When they come to us, they're like, hey, I want to do this.
I want to do a video on X. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. They get too hung up on it being a legal brief. You're not going in front of the Supreme Court.
Right.
Getting it done is better than perfect every single day. I'll bet my money on somebody that's getting it out 2 or 3 times or 4 times a month versus once every other month. It's perfect. It looks like a Law and Order reel.
Right. Well, and it goes back to people don't want that overly slick video. They want to know that this is a person on the other end of this, who is somebody I might want to work with. So it really lends itself to not being perfect. So
absolutely. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Because that's what we resonate to. So there was one question that I wanted to get back to you about the mix. And I want to make sure you understand that you take these long form videos and you slice them up to your shorts. So I'm all in on everything. I'm just not all in on somebody just saying I'm going to be a YouTube star. You're going to flop. I'm just going to own social. You know what? Those are one and dones. So you better have a lot of one and dones.
Yeah.
But why not create it once and then take the time, 2 to 3 to 4 months it will take you to figure out the system and the process on how to post it, how to format it for every stinking platform you can even think of. Go ask your nieces or the neighborhood kid. They'll tell you, like, be real. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
No, it's coming, right? Snapchat. Can't figure out how to do that yet, but you take this long form video and you reuse it everywhere.
Yeah.
You figure out the process. So then when you create it, you know how to shoot it, where to shoot it. You've got your script, you've got your equipment. Then you hand it over to your team. They know what you expect for editing and distribution and the schedule. And then all you have to do as the owner, spend about an hour and a half a month creating content, which it's not art. You don't have to be funny. You don't have to be slick. You can have a face for radio like I do, and you'll be all right. Just get over that, but get it done. Because if you know there's a process, Michelle, then they just start doing it more because they're like, okay, well, it's not that hard.
Yeah. And have you had attorneys come to you and say, oh, I got this new client and they mentioned this particular video? Because I think that's when it gets exciting, when they start to connect what they're doing with actual business. Do you hear that quite a bit?
We hear that, we're not always asking, hey, did you get this lead from although we track phone calls and leads and different things like that go through there. But when you start doing these type of videos, you've got to let it percolate for a couple minutes, like SEO.
100%.
It doesn't take 6 months, but it takes consistency for a couple months, and you will see the ROI. When we talk to our clients about actual direct ROI linked to those things, it's much easier to do it when we run our ads on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, you're not putting in a call tracking number, like if you're running a pay-per-click or something like this, and you're not making this heavy-handed call to action video. Because if you're only talking about your stuff in your firm and things that you do, you're going to run out of content real quick and nobody's going to watch it.
No one's going to watch. Yeah.
That branding. And then that's where if you're tracking your leads and the new leads and qualify and all those different things you should be doing in your firm, we're seeing within 6 months of consistency, we're seeing 20-30% uptick in clients.
Love that.
Right.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And then it decreases the amount of time they spend on their marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it's just such a it's such a easier lift for an attorney I've worked with marketers before, and they say things like, well, can you just send me an article to an attorney? And I think, don't ever do that.
No,
They're not, you've got to facilitate it. You've got to make it easy for them. So if we're writing content, we're doing a Zoom chat, with them. We're not
you
asking them.
figured
You've
it
got to
out.
make it right. You got to make it a way that fits into their really busy schedules. And makes it as easy as possible for them to get done. So, and really
And
just taps into what's important, which is their expertise and who they are as a professional.
they can, the highest use of their value is not figuring out the logistics or worrying about the
Right.
nuts and
Right.
bolts. It's about getting them in front of a camera and repeating 1 to 2
Yeah.
sentences at a time, and then pushing their image and their brand and their firm everywhere possible.
Yeah. Love that.
Right? Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. I mean, you've answered, I was looking at my questions and you already answered most of them for all of them for me. So before we go, if there's one thing you want attorneys to take away when it comes to video marketing, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Understand the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
Picture on the piece of paper the word boy, and then put in your mind a picture of a boy sitting on a couch with a basketball looking up at you cute. That's nice. And then the video of the boy dribbling off the basketball off his dog's head, then falling down laughing about it, and a child's giggle. Which one has more impact?
Yeah. Right.
It's video is to impact, attract, and convert. So when you understand that your marketing will increase by on average about 28 to 34%. This was by HubSpot. If you include video in your marketing and you understand the power of that, and then just look back at your life. How do you consume video? Then you start to understand, okay, great. So if you understand the value of video, then everything else is fine. Like you understood the value of, I want to own my own law firm and this is what I want to practice. Then everything else fell in place after that.
Right.
You figured it out.
Yeah.
So if you understand the value of video, it's a big blue ocean. If you don't think it's a big opportunity, go to YouTube, the number 2 search engine, owned by the number 1 search engine, Google. Go to YouTube, type in your city. The bigger the city that you live in or the closer the big city, do that as well, right? Because I don't like Philadelphia. You live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, put in Philadelphia, and then put in your practice area. You'll see a couple of videos that are 2, 3, 5 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old that nobody's watching.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is there's something I'd like to give everybody, if that's okay, I can mention. I got what in our industry, we call it freemiums. Like I want to give you something to start you on your journey. And this is your videos need to start on YouTube. They need to go there, but that's not the highest ROI platform for your video. Understand that, but they need to start there. They have to be there. So we have an optimization guide because every law firm, like back in the day when we first started creating websites, Michelle, we'd just look at their websites and be like, it's terrible. Now we have auditing tools. Yeah, every law firm's YouTube channel is not, it's actually detracts from views. We had a bunch of old videos on Rainmaker. We created a whole new channel called Lifestyle Law Firm because that's one of the things that we promote because our old videos were dragging down all of our analytics. So we want to show you what you should be doing with your YouTube channel to start with. It's not hard. So we've got, if you go to the Rainmaker Institute.com/optimize.
Optimize. Okay, great. We'll put the link in the show notes as well. So that's great. I'm going to download that myself. I look forward to that. So
yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? It's just like I was telling you before, like how to set up and shoot and record video. I went to our IP attorney and said, can we patent this? Can we trademark? What can we? She's like, no, it's clever, but you can't. I'm like, oh, it's so good. Because nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is doing what we've done.
Yeah.
And the reason is it took us 5,000 videos in 5 years to figure this out.
Yeah.
But if you go through this simple process, like I just laid out, you'll be able to create your own videos and it won't be a big lift. Be like riding a bike, take a couple minutes at first, you'll get better, but get this optimization guide because you've got to put them on a channel to start with.
They got to be, and they got to be found. So, well, great. Thank you.
Everything.
Well, we have been talking to Philip Fairley of the Rainmaker Institute. What's the best way for people to connect with you if they'd like to chat more?
844 Rainmaker.
Awesome.
give us a call. You
Perfect.
can ask for me. We're under 100 staff. Everybody knows my name here, and I'd love to connect with you and talk. As you can, hope you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this because I've seen it change so many law firms' revenue trajectory just by doing something different and adding video into what they're doing.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to Spill the Ink, a podcast by Reputation Inc. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.